Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to use source material, cold hard data, really, to get past the hype, straight to the truth. And if you've ever found yourself just staring at a wall of wine, you know the usual story.
Oh, yeah.
Critics tell you, chase complexity. Sommeliers talk about terroir.
Right.
The whole industry seems focused on, dry, complex stuff.
But today, we're kind of tossing the tasting notes out, aren't we?
We are.
We're looking at receipts. We dove into some comprehensive sales data, specifically purchase receipts for wine and champagne.
Okay.
To figure out what people actually buy,
Yeah.
when they reach for a bottle. Forget aspiration. This is about commerce.
Right, let's unpack that. So our mission today really is to give you a shortcut, a genuine understanding of the market's reality.
The mechanics of it.
Exactly. We're pulling insights from this analysis, let's call it wine market secrets, which really dissects the commercial engine, the goal, to basically reveal three big counter-narratives, things that honestly kind of shatter the conventional wisdom about wine.
Yeah, we want to go past the marketing noise and find the specific brands, the categories that bring in the real money.
Whether they get critical acclaim or not.
Exactly. Doesn't matter. It's about the revenue.
Okay, but before we jump into the big names and the shocking sales figures, we need to talk logistics, right?
Good.
If one brand is truly dominating, it must have incredible market penetration. So where are people actually buying all this stuff?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crucial context. And what's fascinating really is how diverse the purchase points are.
It's not just the obvious places.
Well, you have the traditional channels, of course. Your liquor stores, specialty shops, convenience stores, bars, restaurants. That's the baseline you see pretty much everywhere.
Sure, the standard stuff.
But the sources point to other channels moving huge volume, especially in, say, emerging markets, places you wouldn't immediately link with wine or champagne sale.
Okay, like what?
Exactly. Think about fuel station convenience stores. The sources called them petro forecourts.
Picking up a bottle with your gas.
You got it. But maybe even more important are these big centralized wholesale hubs.
Ah, you mean like the Kikubo wholesale district mentioned in the data?
Precisely. These are massive, high-volume wholesale areas. They're like the engine room, supplying smaller shops, those mobile stockists, vendors.
Bypassing the big supermarket chains sometimes.
Often, yeah. And if a product gets traction in these places, these hubs, it just achieves ubiquity almost instantly. It's this layered, high-volume, often low-margin strategy that helps explain why certain products become, like, market anchors.
Okay, that really sets the scene. If you can get your product everywhere, from a fancy shop to the guy selling from a van supplied by that hub,
Then you're set up for serious domination.
which brings us neatly to secret number one, the quiet dominator. You look at the shelf, you see hundreds of options, seems fragmented.
But the data says that's an illusion. When you connect it to the bigger picture, the concentration of power is, well, it's staggering.
Okay.
We found one single brand essentially acting as the market center of gravity.
And that brand is?
Nederburg.
Nedeburg. Okay, classic name, recognizable for sure. But I wouldn't have immediately pegged it as the powerhouse. What kind of scale are we talking?
The sources show Nederburg accounts for over a third. More than 1/3 of the total sales value.
Wait, value, not just volume.
Value.
Yeah.
Across all the brands analyzed in this data. Just think about all the competing labels out there.
Thousands.
Right. And one brand pulls in that much of the financial weight.
Over a third. In a market that feels so fragmented by region, grape type, price, that suggests what? Massive distribution, brilliant pricing, or maybe just competitors failing to grab the mass market.
It's probably, a mix of all three. But here's where it gets really specific.
Okay.
That dominance, it's
Yeah.
not spread across their whole range. It is overwhelmingly, massively driven by one category,
Which is?
dry red wine. This isn't about their whole portfolio being successful. It's about one single accessible product acting as the market anchor.
A single product driving a third of the market's value. That sounds less like leadership and more like a structural fact of the industry.
It almost is.
Give us the number that really shows the power of this one wine.
Get this. The revenue from just Nederburg's dry red wine alone is greater than the total sales of almost every other single brand in the entire dataset.
Wow.
It's financially bigger than entire companies selling whites, sparklings, multiple reds.
That is Genuinely astonishing. So whether you realize it or not, this one dry red dictates shelf space, sets price expectations.
Forces competitors to react.
It's the elephant in the wine aisle nobody really points
It
out.
really is the market's foundation, yeah. It successfully gets through that complex distribution network we talked about, the hubs, the convenience stores,
Everywhere.
and just establishes itself as the default reliable choice for a huge chunk of consumers. That's how you get that kind of financial dominance.
Okay. So we've got the king of volume, the market structure anchor, the reliable dry red. Now, secret number 2 sounds like it flips the script on profit.
It does.
We're always told sophistication, complexity, that's where success lies. But the sales data suggests something simpler, maybe sweeter.
Absolutely. The second big takeaway is, let's call it the unheralded king of profit. Sweet wine.
Okay.
This is where that aspirational wine narrative, all the talk about tannins and oak and
That
structure,
clashes with reality.
violently. It collides with commercial reality.
We spend so much time talking about dry wines, assuming mass market success means copying the fancy stuff critics like. What does the data say people actually prefer?
The cold, hard commercial truth. The market's engine runs on a mass market thirst for sweeter, more approachable wines.
Really?
The vast majority of consumers, when they actually open their wallets, they go for approachability, not complexity.
So what's the proof? Give us a brand that nails this high profit, high sweetness strategy.
Look no further than Four Cousins. It's just a masterclass in tapping into that sweet palate.
Okay, Four Cousins. What's the key product?
Their sweet red wine, by
Okay.
far their single most valuable product.
More valuable than their dry red or white.
Get this. Their sweet red brings in significantly more revenue than all their other wine types combined.
Combined, seriously.
Combined. That includes their dry red, dry white, even their sweet white. Everything else in their portfolio is basically, financially speaking, just supporting that one incredibly profitable sweet red.
That's a massive gap. It means if you took away that sweet red, the brand's finances would just crater.
Pretty much.
It suggests that maybe the industry keeps some of these serious dry wines around for image,
For optics, yeah, or tradition.
while the actual bills get paid by the easy-drinking, sweeter stuff.
Exactly. It's like the industry's great unspoken truth. Sweetness drives profit. And it's not just Four Cousins.
No.
The data shows us across the board. Robertson Wines is another example mentioned. Their sweet wines, red and white, are huge for their overall success, their financial health.
It makes you wonder then, if the mass market clearly loves sweet, are the critics and sommeliers reviewing for a totally different reality?
It seems that way sometimes.
Like we're all ordering the complex dry wine to look smart, but secretly, most people just want something reliably pleasant and, well, sweet.
The data definitely shows that behavior at scale prioritizes immediate enjoyment, approachability. The value is in the pleasant experience, not trying to decode a complex vintage.
Okay, so we have the king of volume and distribution, Nederburg dry red, and the king of underlying profit, sweet wine.
Right.
Now let's pivot completely to the very top end, the fancy stuff,
Yeah.
sparkling wines. What's secret number 3?
Secret 3 is margin over volume. This is all about the financial leverage you get from pure brand equity, luxury.
Okay.
So when we look at the premium segment, the analysis focuses on 2 iconic champagne brands.
Let me guess. Moret and Chanel.
That's one. And Veuve Clicquot.
The big 2. Synonymous with celebration, luxury. They feel like they're everywhere, but the data must show smaller actual sales volume compared to, say, Four Cousins Sweet Red.
Oh, absolutely. They represent a relatively tiny volume of total units sold.
Hmm.
They aren't chasing that huge distribution network like Nederburg.
They don't need to be in every gas station.
Exactly. They focus on maintaining that exclusive image. Strategic scarcity, almost.
But even with low volume, their financial impact on the whole industry's revenue is huge, right? How does that work? Selling few units but capturing massive value.
It's just a masterclass in pricing strategy, completely driven by brand equity.
The power of the name.
Totally. Because the luxury position is so established and there's that strategic scarcity, a handful of sales from Moet or Veuve can financially outweigh enormous volumes of cheaper stuff.
Because the price per bottle is so high.
So high that unit volume becomes way less important than the margin you make on each single transaction.
So if a mass market brand needs to sell, say, 10,000 bottles to make X amount of profit.
The champagne house might only need to sell a few hundred to make the same amount.
Wow. The barrier for the consumer is high, but the profit lever for the producer is just astronomical.
Precisely. The data really shows that in this high-end space, brand equity is often the most powerful financial tool you have. You're not just selling a drink, you're selling an experience, a status symbol.
Right.
So this premium segment acts as this high-value outlier. It confirms the market is driven by like two opposing forces at the same time.
Which are?
Extreme low-margin ubiquity at the bottom and extreme high-margin scarcity at the top.
That's fascinating. So the market isn't really driven by that middle ground, critically acclaimed, medium-priced, complex wines we hear so much about.
Not financially, no.
It's driven by these two extremes, mass volume accessibility and absolute luxury pricing.
That is the unambiguous story the sales receipts tell. We've pulled back the curtain, and the commercial reality is pretty clear.
Let's sum it up.
Okay. One single dry red wine dominates through sheer distribution power. Sweet wine is the undisputed king of profit across many diverse brands, and premium champagne drives incredible financial value through brand power alone. That's the reality behind the labels.
So we've navigated the source material, unpacked the data, and revealed these three core drivers of this huge market. Hopefully you now have the insight to see the difference between the wine market story and its actual financial truth.
And that leads us to a final provocative thought for you to mull over based on these realities we've discussed.
Okay, let's hear it.
Given that the commercial engine of this whole industry is so heavily driven by sweet wines and that one powerhouse dry red, think about your own habits. Are your personal purchases, the bottles you actually choose week after week, in line with this commercial reality? Or are you perhaps the statistical exception to the rule?